Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And we have another great article from Seeking Alpha. I will leave it in the description down below. Before I get this video started, again, just a disclaimer. I'm no financial advisor. I'm no financial analyst. Don't take any of what I say and go and buy stock or sell or trade. That's not what I make these videos for. I want to speak in terms of just generalizing and giving you guys my take and opinion of where this is heading and where At&T is going in the short to midterm. So the title of this article from Seeking Alpha is At&T Breaks Down Again. Now, before the media the media purchases under Randall Stevenson, and of course Stanky had something to do with that as well, they were a phone company. They were a pure phone company before media, and then now they've had media in their portfolio for quite some time now. It started with the DirecTV purchase, then they transitioned into Warner Media because they felt like they needed to own the content. It was better that way. They didn't need to structure as many deals. They could maybe lessen the amount that the customer pays per month. So that was the reasoning behind Warner Media. And then, of course, the HBO Max, that was going to be a big deal for the company. Now, Stanky made the call to we're no longer going to carry media on our portfolio. We're going to get rid of it. We're going to spin it off, and we're going to use that almost $5 billion to reinvest that back into our business, which Stanky now calls a connectivity business between wireless and fiber. Now, the $4.8 billion number came from their Q4 earnings report. That's about what they spent for the year on media to, of course, create new content, shows, movies for the HBO Max platform, original content. So that's a good chunk of money that they can split 50-50 between wireless and fiber, or 60-40, however they want to split it. That's on them, of course. And I hope we get an outlook post-media spinoff of how that capital is going to be allocated, or what it's going to be allocated towards. So what Seeking Alpha is just briefly speaking of here is more of a shareholder analyst outlook. They're pretty much saying At&T looks like it is breaking out of trading range, but to the downside. So they're saying the stock's going to take a hit, and it's going to get a little worse before it gets better. And I have to agree. At&T has long-term investors in their portfolio that are all about dividend, and you go ahead and you spin off media and you cut the dividend. So that's not going to resonate and sit well with these analysts and these investors across the board. So you can bet that stock is going to bottom out maybe even lower than $22. Maybe it goes below 20, who knows? But that's, post media spinoff potentially. And it's going to be a while before we see a recovery. Now, a lot of people are still telling me that the stock is a buy. That's what I'm hearing from people I talk to, that they think it's going to pick up. And I tend to agree, but it's going to take time. There's a lot of people out there that are still going to consider At&T a media company. That's going to be a while to change that perception. You say At&T, the average consumer might say, isn't it the company that has media, that has DirecTV? That's going to be a while to change that perception for At&T. And it doesn't help that even though they spun off the media, the store reps are still selling it. They're still selling DirecTV. They're still selling DirecTV Stream. They're still selling that product, to my knowledge, from what I've been told recently. So does that eventually stop? Who knows? It may be continuing on, because I still see them including HBO Max in the fiber tiers, and the higher fiber tiers, and then on the elite plan, I still see them continuing to offer HBO Max, and whatever Discovery Plus does with it, you might also be able to get that content as well, that Discovery Plus content as well, in the short term. So Stanky is expecting this or they're confident that this closes in July, so they're not getting a lot of pushback apparently. And Stanky's going to look like the bad guy on this. And I think he's willingly going to take the blame, because he understands that his business, the way it's going, and how aggressive T-Mobile is getting and where Verizon is going, his business is going to need the additional fund where it matters. And for his business, the cash cow is wireless. It makes the most revenue. So they're going to have to get competitive on wireless. Fiber plays a big factor in that as well, but fiber helps wireless. If you bring fiber to neighborhoods, you can put C-RAN up, you can put small cells, millimeter wave. So the fiber is essential. If you bring fiber closer to the neighborhoods, then you have fiber there closer to build new macros or maybe co-locate on on the tower that's nearby. So your fiber transport is not as long as going from another side of town. You're bringing it closer to potential towers that you can co-locate on. So all of that plays a factor of AT&T moving its business in the right direction, and I 100% agree media was going to hold them down. If they had media on that portfolio this year, next year, moving forward, if they weren't going to spin it off, T-Mobile was going to surpass them on wireless, 100%. They were going to have the second best network. AT&T was going to be moved to third place, and T-Mobile and Verizon were just going to fight it out. They were going to compete. AT&T was going to be behind, but now renewed focus, connectivity company, it's going to get a lot more interesting. The second half of this year, 2023 and beyond, it's going to get very interesting because now AT&T is flexible. AT&T can at any time say, okay, our fiber build is on pace. It's ahead of schedule. We're going to reallocate some of that funding towards wireless. We're going to invest another $2 to $3 billion, or move $2 to $3 billion from our capex to wireless. So that's how flexible AT&T is going to be, and they have the money. That's the good part. They don't have to wait 2-3 years to gain additional cash flow, free cash flow. They have that now to invest in a big way. Swap radios, get C-band out there, get the DoD out there, get more sites out there, FirstNet. All of that will be taken into consideration. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Stanky is going to look like the bad guy here. I'm telling you guys right now, the board members, the investors, dividend cuts, it's not going to sit well with these guys. I'm still hearing rumblings that Stanky could potentially retire after that spinoff. That's still on the cards. Just because he's going to look like the bad guy, so you may need a new face of the company to kind of take the company in that, that more positive direction. Because if not, any move forward that Stanky makes may be considered, oh, here goes the bad guy again, making moves. So that is a potential that Stanky does retire and he gets replaced with a new face to the company. That is still on the cards. We'll, of course, see later in the year if that gets announced. But I think that's a possibility because, like I said, he is going to look like the bad guy, spinning off media, cutting the dividend. It's just not going to sit well. And it's going to take a while for AT&T stock to recover because the stock didn't go up. They had quarter after quarter these last few quarters with brilliant numbers, growth, more money coming in, revenue intake, higher ARPU, elite plan selling, phones are being sold, and the stock hasn't moved. So post-media spinoff, you cut dividends, stock drops. Let's say in Q2, Q3, you still have big wireless quarters and fiber could potentially grow as well. I just don't see that moving the stock much. They will have to do years and years of work on changing perception, maybe moving, getting some of that management, that older management out, bringing in new management, and just changing branding of the company and getting investors on board to change that stock. But for now, I predict, and this is just my opinion, I think the stock's going to be where it's at. It's going to be in that $20 to $25 range, and I don't think it goes any higher, at least over the next 12 months. It stays where it's at for now. So let me know what you think about this. AT&T breaking down again, going back to what they know best, connectivity. Fiber now is going to be a big play. I've been told that 5 to 7 million ads per year is a realistic target after the media spinoff. So we'll see how many quarterly ads they can do when they have more households to sell to. So make sure you guys like, share, subscribe to the channel, follow the social media outlets for more updates and interactions. This is Tyrone with Tech Live. I will see you in the next one. Peace.